All right. Welcome to Grue, and thank you so much for taking time out and coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, thank you. So, so like the first I wanted to ask you is, I see you do a lot of artwork and drawing and cartoons, and how did you get involved with drawing, and when did your passion start for it?
Well, I've been drawing as long as I can remember since I was a small child. So it's something that I veered toward in my spare time and in school. I started developing pretty rapidly. And then I had such a interest in comics and cartoons, like most children do. And I was very much taken with that genre and that medium. Uh, and then I went to Ducret School of Arts on the weekend, which is a school out here in New Jersey. For it's both a college, but also provided classes, fine arts classes and illustration classes for young children. So while I was going to grammar school, I would attend these classes over a number of years, I think 6 or 7 years altogether, through to about the age of 12, where it was really sort of my foundational learning began there, and helped me sort of begin, begin to appreciate the greater scope of art making and get into good practices so that I could hone my craft over time. So I would say that it began really as early as early childhood.
Wow. And what are some of like the art pieces that you drew?
That I drew.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm gosh, uh, I was told that anyway. I'd drawn. You know, I I drew a figurine from life that was very impressive, and I guess that was um, the first inkling that my parents had that I had maybe an ability to make art. Um,
Okay.
and then from there, I mean, I got file cabinets full of drawings and stories that I created, from various ages, from childhood onward. So my interests, really just kind of continued to flourish. Again, with the focus being primarily on
Mhm.
superheroes, I'd say, and that really hasn't changed very much. Uh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I was on your page and your site too, and I saw like a lot of your drawings are of superheroes, and when did your love for superheroes start?
As early as I can remember. I mean, growing up in the 80s, there were a lot of television shows and movies that were on television at the time. Things like Wonder Woman, obviously, from the
Mhm.
1970s, was in syndication when I was growing up. So that was probably my first introduction to that character. And that's been a love affair since. And obviously, the Superman cinematic films with Christopher Reeve, which were on heavy rotation on network television.
Yeah.
And so I would say those two, and those two heroes remain probably my favorites,
Oh,
alongside
wow.
the X-Men and possibly a few others. So yeah, I mean, in conjunction with cartoons of the era like Super Friends or He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and She-Ra,
Yeah.
Princess of Power, and the Thundercats, and all of those extraordinary animations from the 1980s that were either superhero or fantasy oriented.
Yeah, I used to love those shows too, like Masters of the Universe and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
and G GI Joe, and I used to love all those shows. It was great.
Right. I've just recently been kind of revisiting the GI Joe TV series, having
Okay.
not really watched it as frequently as some of the other programs, even when I was growing up. And I'm astounded at the sophistication of not just the animation, but also the storytelling, and how riveting and exciting the pace is, I think it actually really it outshines uh, some of the other shows that were popular at the time, and it really holds up very, very well. For a show that was produced for the sole basis to sell toys, it's, I don't know, I get a kick out of it. I find it very exciting, and I've been really enjoying revisiting that series particularly.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great it is. It's great. It's a great show, and but Masters of the Universe when I was a kid, like that was probably like the one that I loved the most. Like I would pretend running around the house thinking that I was him, that I was he man, I would have like a fake sword that and I would throw the sword up in the air and say I've got the power and all that stuff.
I still do, just in secret. And I have a variety of the toys, both original and the classics that have since come through, and all the many of the newer lines from the last gosh 40 years. And yeah, I still very much enamored with those franchises and the characters, very much so, particularly Masters of the Universe.
Yeah. Did you see the new show that they got now? I think last year was like the first season, and they're coming back for like a second season.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for the second season, the Kevin Smith adaptation, Revelations, I believe it's called. Um, I liked it. I did. I liked a great deal of it. I thought the animation was very attractive. Um, I still have obviously a soft spot for the original series,
Of
and
course.
and actually I really enjoy the 1990s spacefaring series as well for some reason. And it really appeals to me because it's kind of a fusion of of genres. It's sword and sorcery and um, space, uh, sci-fi. So I very much enjoy that too.
Nice, nice. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like it seems like every era they find a way to be relevant again.
They do. They do. Yeah. Yeah.
Are are you a video game guy too, or
I'm not. It's one thing I did not inherit from my peers or my generation. Because they were, already very popular, and obviously the, arcades were booming in the 1980s and
yeah.
1990s. Um, it's just never something that's appealed to me, and I've played a few here and there, and I'm not very much interested in video games. But I have great respect for the industry and for the people that develop and design them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sure.
And I saw like one of the recent things, like you did artwork for Sam's book, his Sam
I did.
Irvin's book, right?
Sam Irvin, yeah, the famed Elvira Haunted Hills director and my friend,
Yes.
whom I have great adoration and respect for. Yes, he commissioned me to participate in his book, the epic saga behind Frankenstein, the true story,
Hmm.
which was a 1970s adaptation of Mary Shelley's book that was starred Jane Seymour and the late Michael Saracen. And so he had asked me to participate and contribute a piece, which has its own splash page, which is very exciting. He and I recently he's been doing a book tour, and
Yeah.
we had an opportunity not only to meet for the very first time, but participate in my very first professional signing at Forbidden Planet in New York City, which is an extraordinary thing that manifested, and I feel very grateful. And we had an excellent time. I got to sell a few prints as well, which was yeah. I mean, it was just an extraordinary experience, and I'm very happy to have had that opportunity. Incidentally, I have a copy of the book here.
Oh,
If you'd like, if you'd like to see it, reiterate it to whomever's watching. This is Sam's incredible tome that he made, um, documenting the making of this series, with a foreword by Anne Rice and afterword by Guillermo del Toro's, which is, I mean, that in itself, in addition to being, Sam's work, knowing that my work is featured in this book is pretty extraordinary. And it is here somewhere. My yeah, this is my piece of
Oh,
Michael
that's awesome.
and the creature, interpreted as Michelangelo's The David. So
Oh, that's really nice. I like that.
thank you so much. I very much appreciate you bringing it up. Yeah, very proud of it. So I'm happy to share.
Wow.
And anybody, I believe the book is also available on audio now and in paperback. So yeah, check it out. Lots of interesting, fascinating material
Oh
covering
yeah.
that, making that film.
I had Sam on the show like a little while ago, and
Oh yeah,
he's a really awesome person. Like
very much.
really
Yeah,
chill.
very chill and lots of exciting stories to share from
Yeah, definitely.
many years experience working in Hollywood. So yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. And when you're not drawing and making art, you also write songs, and you're the front man for your own band, right?
I am. We've kind of been on hiatus for a few years, as these things we occasionally get drawn in different directions in our lives. And but yes, I am the frontman and singer-songwriter of Stefano and the Truth, which is an alternative classic, like I suppose if you one might describe our genre, alternative rock band. Our video songs are available for streaming on YouTube, and our album and singles are available for streaming on Spotify and iTunes Music, etc. So if anybody is willing to take a few minutes and watch our material and enjoy it, I greatly appreciate that. Yeah. But I'm always writing and fiddling with the guitar and developing new material, and hopefully we'll get back into the studio in the coming year or so to produce something new.
Oh wow. Did
Yeah.
did you ever like go do any live shows when your
Just
band was playing?
just a few very small venues, nothing significant. But we primarily worked out of the studio, and we all had day jobs, and then we
Yeah,
shot and recorded music videos to promote the music, and so that was our goal, was just kind of to continue to tell our story musically, visually. And I hope to do that again soon, as time moves forward and I have the opportunity to to collaborate with them, and um, lots of things that need exploring. We also had an opportunity to have one of our songs featured in a short film called Lost in the Woods, which was very cool.
oh
Um,
nice.
an original piece that I had written specifically for that film, which I also co-starred in, which was neat a couple of years ago, when I was at the School of Visual Arts, where I completed my bachelor's for illustration and cartooning. So my experience with art making is a lot of these things kind of converge and inform each other. I don't think of myself strictly as one thing.
Yeah,
As a musician or a singer or as an illustrator or cartoonist. I teach cartooning incidentally, and for me, they're all avenues to channel um, and create art. So it's wherever the muse takes me, I guess, and wherever the opportunities present themselves. Because often opportunity is what's informing the kind of art that we create as creative people.
for sure. Yes. And when you're not acting and writing and drawing and singing, what do you like doing during your free time if you have any?
Well, if anybody follows me on social media, they'll realize that I'm an avid toy collector, and I like dolls a great deal. I do a lot of custom painting and repurposing and refashioning, particularly Robert Tonner dolls, which are high-end, now discontinued line of both licensed character and original fashion dolls from the 2000s and 2010s, by talented Robert Tonner, who's a former Bill Blass designer who created his fashion doll line several years ago. But I like um, kind of repainting and repurposing action figures and
Ooh, wow.
the doll as well, and so that keeps me occupied during my spare time. And occasionally, if I'm feeling generous, I'll photograph them and post them to social media, but um, I don't do it as frequently as perhaps I could. And there's so many amazing, talented artists and customizers online. Many people who do it as a business, and I'm always amazed at what people are able to do with the base figure and transform it into something extraordinary. So I'm very much inspired by that, and yeah, I like to play with dolls.
See, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I got like a whole room full of action figures, and
yeah,
I'm, I'm a big horror fan, so I have like a whole bunch of horror figures. Anywhere from Chucky to Freddy to Jason to
yeah.
Michael and Leatherface, and like I got like a whole row of all like horror figures, and then I'm a wrestling fan, so I
Oh,
have
no.
all the wrestlers on like the on like one row is wrestlers, one row is horror.
Yeah, I know. I have, the favorite pieces that I don't touch or that only live on the shelf. But I really do like to move things around and reconfigure them
Mhm.
and dress them up or dress them down, as it were. Um, so I'm not one to keep things in boxes. If they're articulated, then they're meant to play with.
Well, yeah,
Is
exactly.
my opinion. But yeah, so that's sort of that keeps me busy in my spare time in addition to spending time with my family and so forth.
Oh, okay. And what kind of songs do you like listening to? Like, what's on your playlist?
uh, hmm, Good question. I mean, my tastes are pretty vast. I'm first generation Italian, so I listen to a
Okay.
lot of Italian music, actually. A lot of prog rock from the 1970s, a lot of alternative music from the 1980s and 90s, I would say, are probably my primary genre of, I don't know, listening choice. But I like a variety of music and genres, and it really just depends on the artist. It depends on the material and what sort of mood I'm in, and
Yeah.
if I feel like dancing, or if I feel like being meditative and retro, and thinking about things more deeply. Um, I have my go-to artists. I don't really listen to a great deal of modern music any longer. There's not anything currently that particularly appeals to me, but I'm always open to new things.
Okay.
Occasionally I'll hear something on the radio, or somebody will recommend something to me, and I'll give it a shot, and I might like it. Yeah.
Nice. And what would be your go-to karaoke song you think if you were, with friends?
I
I guess someone at the door.
I think I'm guessing it's a delivery, so we'll just ignore that.
Okay.
So that's the lives that we lead now, right? Things get
Yes,
delivered to our
exactly.
front door. We've become very spoiled. Um, you'll have to forgive me. You'll have to ask me the question again.
Oh yeah. If you were gonna do a karaoke song, what do you think you would sing?
Hmm. Now, um,
Mhm.
I would sing. I'm a big Jackson Brown fan, and
Oh yeah.
been
Okay.
really very much immersing myself in his discography of late. Um, and I might sing Boulevard.
Nice. Okay. As I was telling you, I'm a big horror guy, so I always ask guests, are there any horror films that you love watching? Like, are there?
Many, many.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I have my go-to annual viewings, the films that I'm very fond of and that I like to watch every year. Um, I'm an enormous Freddy fan, so
Oh, nice.
I like Nightmare on Elm Street, particularly the Alice films.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes. 4 and 5.
4 and 5, The Dream Warrior and The Dream Child, are probably my favorites of those franchises. I love and I'm sure it has to do with my age, that was probably, those were more prevalent when I was a small child. But there's something about those characters and the visuals of those films that are really, really sophisticated, and sort of encapsulate a lot of sort of high 80s glamour about them
True.
too, which I find very appealing and nostalgic. So I love those. I love the It miniseries with Tim
Yeah.
Curry and a slew of amazing actors. I adore it, and I watch that one pretty regularly. The Shining, of course, is like the pinnacle of exceptional horror filmmaking, and how a film can transcend its own story and and be something really, really grand. I love the first two Hellraisers. I watch them. Yeah,
definitely.
I watch often. I don't know why, but there's something really compelling about that story and the way those first two films were executed. And again, a lot of it has to do with the direction, the era, the cast, all of these different components that make these things appealing to us as audiences or not, based on our own personalities and our own personal taste or experience with them, I guess. I'd say those are probably some standouts for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Those are all classic films you mentioned, and they're some of the ones that I love the most too, like especially Freddy films, and awesome. I love it.
I know it's not specifically horror genre, but it's kind of horror adjacent. But I'm a huge David Lynch fan, and I would argue that his films are pretty horrific in ways. So, I love Fire Walk with Me, I think, and I know it's like such a contentious kind of film where people really either really dislike it or really love it, and I'm definitely in that latter camp. I think it's genius. I think it's brilliant. Again, it's also it relies on whether or not you know the mythology behind the Twin Peaks series. So I appreciate that makes it challenging to watch without having watched that. But I think it's an exceptional piece of art. And I feel that about a lot of his work. I think, Mulholland Drive obviously is, I think, equally very much a masterpiece in my eyes. And it's another film that I watch often. And I feel like, I have the opportunity to witness, sort of unravel, the puzzles that are David Lynch's films, and appreciate something new and take something valuable from it every time, which I think is, in my opinion, the key to great art, is that there's, you can constantly unearth some gem that you haven't necessarily gleaned before on first viewing. So I feel that very much so about David Lynch's films.
Nice. Yeah, no, David Lynch is amazing. They're all really good choices. I love it. And what about food? Like, what kind of foods do you love to eat the most?
Pretty bland when it comes to my diet. I'm very strict with my diet, so I eat very clean. I eat a lot of colorful fruits and vegetables, and high protein, a lot of chicken and fish primarily. I do have my my cheats, I suppose. I love pizza, so if I felt I needed to indulge on something every so often, I might have some pizza. But I avoid sweets. I save for maybe the holidays, so I did have some chocolates over Christmas and New Year's. But yeah, my diet's pretty regimented.
Nice. And what about, like, are you I don't know if you drink any of these, but do you prefer coffee or tea?
Definitely coffee. Yeah, coffee is, I think, is my vice. So I have a great fondness for coffee, and I can't imagine operating without it. So I primarily drink espresso, and I usually brew them together. So I'll have Colombian and espresso, and I'd like to make my little coffee bombs in the morning to get my day started. But I do like tea. I will occasionally add tea to my coffee, which is
Oh,
so. But I prefer coffee.
same, same.
Yeah,
Like I can't get through my morning without drinking one or two cups.
yeah, for sure. Or occasionally three or four.
Yeah, yeah. Depending on what kind of day I'm having in work.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate that.
And is there anything coming up for you that you want to plug? Like anything you're working on, whether it's music or art?
I don't have anything currently that I can think of. I mean, I'm working on some new music, and I just got my guitars restrung, so I'm excited to get back into the studio and create some, put some pen to paper, write some new lyrics. Um, I am working on some new artwork, so hopefully I'll have something to share on social media soon. I'll be updating my website soon with artwork from the past 2 years or so, because it needs some refreshing. Um, you can find that at stefanojunior.com, and see my past portfolio. And obviously, I can be found at SPJ Comic Art on Instagram, and Stefano and the Truth as well. Also, Stefano and the Truth music videos are available on YouTube for streaming, as I said previously. So certainly, I'd be grateful if anybody took an opportunity to browse through any of those things and give it a like or subscribe. Uh, the artwork is, I'm always open to commissions. So if people want to reach out to me privately and discuss commission work, I'm certainly open to discussing that.
Sweet, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out and coming on the show. It was really great chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to have met you, not in person, but as we do these days, over chat.
I know,
Um,
right? Exactly.
I appreciate you, finding me on social media and following and being a great supporter. I'm very grateful to have had this opportunity to chat with you today, and a fan of your channel. So thank you for
Thank you.
allowing me an opportunity to participate.
Thank you. I thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, we'll definitely have a great night and weekend's about to come up. So have a good weekend too. Well, no, it's only Tuesday. Never mind. Oh my God, I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah,
Have a great
visual
week.
thinking. And be safe on the roads out there, because I know you're dealing with the same snowstorm that we are here. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and anybody who may be listening, make smart choices.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty bad from what I heard. So I'm definitely gonna take my time going home.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, have a really good night, buddy.
You as well. Take care.
Thank thank you.